Hey guys, today I have an interesting topic to talk about, and it's a topic that I don't hear a lot of people talking about, except in like spiritual circles and religious circles. And I think it is a really important topic because it has to do with everyone. It has to do with human nature. It has to do with morals and spirituality and everything. And it's the topic of radical change. It is the topic about whether someone can change. It's the topic about spiritual awakening. The reason why this comes up, I was watching a video, and the topic of radical change came up, whether people can change, and it brought back memories of my life. I'm not old enough to say that I've had like a long life and I've been through everything or anything like that, but have definitely been through certain things, and there has been a radical change in my life regarding like a spiritual awakening. And a way to start, just so you know, this unscripted, so whatever comes. To start with, I guess I should answer the question of whether somebody can change or not. And the answer is yeah. Yeah, some people can change. People can change. It takes work. It takes acknowledging that you need to change. It takes coming to the point where you no longer know where to go in life, where you feel like you're cornered by life in order for you to change. That's what it takes. And the reality is we can change. It is harder for certain people to change. So most people won't change, but it is possible. It is a reality that one can change. And as proof that people can change, you can see things like radical changes in personalities from people who have spiritual awakenings, who become religious overnight, people who abandon their former self and become a new person altogether. And it is the reality that you cannot forget your past. You can't let go of it. It's always going to be attached in some way to you as the new person. But the reality is you can change. And in my experience, my personal experience was it's really straightforward. A little, I'll get into some of the details. I I'm 22 this year. I turned 23. And I certainly don't feel 22. I feel like I'm really, really much older, emotionally, but I am 22. When I was, let's say, 17 through age 20, maybe 21, I was going through a lot of stuff in my life that, in a way, took all the purpose away from me wanting to live and wanting to move forward with life. And I was really stuck. I was really stuck. And for you to understand, for the audience to understand what stuck means, um, just imagine being depressed, but also imagine the feeling of being incapable of getting into a relationship, being incapable of succeeding in life, of socializing, of having friends, of having a meaningful job, a meaningful career, or anything. That was part of what contributed to me being depressed. That um, inability to see beyond what I thought, were my limits, but what I couldn't see beyond. And the reality is that it is not all due to me being incapable of not seeing beyond. There was a physical factor that uh, that now I know that I was wrong about, that it was incorrect. It was an improper diagnosis, that I did to myself because I assumed the worst of myself. So I misdiagnosed myself, and that led to me seeing myself incapable of doing certain things in life. And by seeing myself as incapable of doing certain things in life, it became really depressing. I mean, if I can't have relationships and I can't have friends, if I can't have a meaningful job, what's the point of living, right? And I at the same time, while I was dealing with all that, I was also dealing with chronic, social anxiety disorder, which, I mean, for the people who have suffered social anxiety, and especially the disorder, it is there, and it's not as some people just assume it's like normal anxiety. I'm a little nervous. I'm worrying about the future. I'm worrying about it's social anxiety disorder is much deeper than that. It's this feeling of you're in a spotlight. People are judging you. Everybody hates you. Everybody hates your opinion. You can't be honest. You lie to everyone. You put on this mask when you go to places and meet people because you feel like everybody just dislikes who you are. Everybody hates who you are. Everybody is judging you while they're not. The reality is, people judge everybody just the same. We judge this guy that for this thing. We make fun of this other person for that. We make fun of that other person for that. But the reality is, everybody does it. Everybody does it, and it would be improper to say that people are specifically judging you as an individual. That people are judging you as an individual because you are awkward, because you act this way, because you like these things, because you speak this way. And I had social anxiety disorder for so long, and what I'm trying to get to with pointing all this out is the moment all these things caught up to me and I felt like I had nowhere to go, and I wish I could explain to people what that feeling feels like. You feel like life and everything, every single circumstance led to this point where you're in this small room, in this corner, and everything's pushing against you, toward you, and pressing you against the wall, and you have nowhere to go. And once you get to this point in life where you're there, there's no going anywhere. You have one of two choices. So once you're in this position of a life, everything feels like I'm just gonna not make it. Nothing means anything. I'm not succeeding in life. I'm really depressed. I want to die. Blah blah blah. Once you get to this point, is you have either the choice of leaving the past, or giving into that biological or psychological state of, hey, I'm giving up in life. And that's where I was at. It was I was at the point where I was choosing between, whether I wanted to keep going or not. I mean, at the point it seemed a bit unconscious of a choice, but I made the choice of like, hey, I've never believed in God. I've never believed in anything beyond. I've never believed in anything mystical or anything, and I feel like I should let go of my disbelief and embrace the thing that I feel like would save my life. And then, in that moment, I realized, like, there is God, there is meaning, there is purpose, there's this inner spark in us of the divine that allows us to move beyond all of that. And the moment you realize that, the moment you have that experience, which is called a spiritual awakening, you move beyond all of all of your limitations in life. It moves you beyond all your limitations in life. It doesn't necessarily fix everything. It doesn't necessarily uh, make you the most intelligent, the smartest. It doesn't do much for you other than it makes you break that wall of, hey, I don't have anywhere to go. It's like a it's like God gives you another opportunity in life. God gives you another meaning, more meaning. God resets you and forgives your past, and he gives you another chance in life to start over. Even though you can't change your past, even though you can't forget your past, it alleviates the pain from the past. It's like God forgives every single sin, every single circumstance, every single thing you did in the past. God forgives it in that moment, and you move beyond your limitations. The moment that happened for me, it was this transformation of like, hey, I've been socially anxious. Like I had social anxiety disorder for a few years, since high school, since, I mean, ninth grade. And the moment this happens, that social anxiety slowly fades away. And slowly, I mean slowly, like I didn't notice it until a few weeks or a month, because it was such a difference where I didn't notice. I didn't I didn't think that was happening. I didn't know that was happening until I noticed. But it did. I mean, it was quite rapid, honestly. Like a month or 2 months, and when I noticed, when I looked back, I was no longer the person I used to be, and that is it creates this feeling of like, hey, oh, I used to be this sort of person, and this used to be my past, and I regret so many things, and I have so much guilt about a lot of things, but God forgives it all in a split second and allows you to move beyond. He gives you the grace, the salvation, and in that moment, you become a different person, and you embrace this new personality and this new reality while still retaining the memories of your past. You don't forget your past. You simply don't feel the pain of it anymore. It doesn't hold you down. It doesn't control you. It doesn't affect you anymore. It is there as a memory, as a reminder of like who I used to be. But once you move beyond that, it's grace. It is grace, and I am thankful to God for all that, and it is an incredible transformation. And I think a lot of people haven't gotten to that point of being in that corner where they feel like they don't know where to go from there. And I guess when people get there, they'll have to make a choice. They'll have to make a choice. Do I stay like this and cause my own fall? Because what happens when you stay the way you are is that you are gonna go into destruction. You know what Christians call hell. It's like a eternal damnation. But when you move beyond it, you are taking in God's grace to forgive, to forget, to let go, and moving beyond your limitations. Which, I mean, we all want to move beyond our limitations. We all want to be better. We all want to be good. We all want to have a purpose and feel like we serve a purpose in life and other people's lives. And I am grateful to God for all that. He has allowed all this, and but simply take from this, you know, there we all have this divine capacity, this divine capacity to change. This we have this divine spark in us, and and it only activates when you get to that point where you can't take life anymore. And I wish everybody would get to this point, because I think we would all be better. But once you get to this point, it's like you analyze your life, you see everything in your life, and you tell yourself, hey, where do I want to go from here? Where do I want to go from here? And the moment you say, I want God, I want grace, I want a new beginning, life resets. You have a new purpose in life. You have a new opportunity to become a better you, the real you. You stop putting on faces, masks. You stop lying to yourself. You stop pretending, and you let go of a lot of things. Like for me, it was that social anxiety. Social anxiety makes you lie. It makes you put on masks. about who you are. It makes you people please, and it makes you depressed. So letting go allowed me to move beyond all those things. It allowed me to see myself in regards to, like I said, my misdiagnosis. It allowed me to sit back and just think about it and look at all the circumstances in my life and reevaluate what I thought was the end of my life and see that I was wrong. I made a conclusion out of circumstances, out of evidence that was not conclusive of that misdiagnosis, and all that was possible after that spark, after that awakening, because it allowed me to see life in a different way, from a different perspective. And after that, I got into a relationship. I got into my first relationship, and it was it was wonderful. It was a beautiful relationship. And but yeah, that relationship was allowed by overcoming my past, overcoming everything. I never thought I would be in a relationship. uh, I was really judgmental of myself. I was really insecure and anxious and depressed, and I had nothing to live for. The moment your life resets, God gives you a new opportunity to start again, and you take that opportunity. You get into relationships, you make friends, you start a new job, you become creative again, you do a lot of new things. You pray and you're grateful. You see life so beautifully. People can change. That's all I have to say. People can change. It just depends on whether you make the decision to change. Bye.